Hello again. This is Bill Lindeman with the Believers Business Center of Kalamazoo and the founder, Carrie Sluter. And we have a very special guest today, Dorla Bonner, who is with the Kalamazoo Business Assistance Program in the Department of the Community Planning and Development, the City of Kalamazoo. So we're really happy to have her here. She's got some exciting news. So Carrie, do you want to start?
Well, Dorla has been to our facility. She found us, I guess, online and started investigating what's going on in the community. So that's exciting that you're even able to find us. That's simple. But she found interest in our programs
Yes.
because we are a business development, and she has some funds that are available through grants and that to help businesses get going. And we are in the process of getting ours up and going. So it was a perfect match, and she's been around quite a bit since then. We're real blessed to have her there helping and guiding us, and having the support of the community and the city of Kalamazoo, having someone there that really cares and is helping us. So we're real blessed, and it gives us an opportunity to allow her to share some of the great and exciting news and benefits that she has to offer to the community and its businesses. So we're going to let her do some speaking so she can share all of the great and exciting news that we have for small businesses.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you both for allowing me to be here and for letting me come to your place many times. And what I'm from the city of Kalamazoo, as was said, and with the Community Planning and Development Department, and specifically with the economic arm of the Community Development Department. We are funded through Housing and Urban Development, better known as HUD. And HUD's focus is to impact the lives of low and moderate income residents. And one of the ways that impact occurs is through making sure that there are quality businesses in the neighborhoods. And also many of the local businesses are ran by neighborhood residents. So we not only support the residents, but we would support the business so they could provide services to the residents and keep residents from having to drive so far to get some basic services. And so what we've had it for a long time. It was called the Small Business Revolving Loan Program, and it was ran through the Economic Department of the City of Kalamazoo, and we gave business funding up to $40,000 to businesses throughout the community just to help them keep going. And we have since taken it back into the Community Development Department and expanded it we don't want to just keep it to small businesses. Small business, according to HUD, is 600 to 100 employees. So we kept that phase of it, and we changed the amount of funding from $40,000 to $50,000, and it's gap financing, which means that a small businesses had to first get a loan from a traditional financing from a bank, and then our goal is to fill the gap so they can complete their project. And then we added to that the micro enterprise program, which is what most of our neighborhood organizations are, which is 5 or fewer employees.
Yes.
And our stores, our car washes, the beauty shops, things that are close to us. And they can get a loan up to $10,000. But one of the things we changed is that if they are not able to get financing from a bank, because it's harder for a small organization to get a loan, we will say as long as if the organization brings us denial letters from a bank, then we can forego that gap financing and just be their only finance, with the goal of helping them build their credit so that next time they need funding, they can get traditional financing.
Sure, yes.
And for both of our loan programs, the organization has to have been in business for 2 years, and it's a traditional loan. So in terms of the documentation you have to provide, your tax statements, the scope of work. And when it comes to that, it's handled like a traditional loan. Our terms are 1% below prime, the interest rate, so not above prime, which is what a bank does. We go below prime. just to make it easier. Because if you have to come to us and you can't get as much as you need from the city or from a bank, we already know that you may not be doing it, have a strong financial standing. So we don't want to make it difficult.
Yes.
But it is a loan.
Yes.
And because it's still a revolving loan, when those loans are paid and the interest is paid, that allows us to give another organization a loan. The scope of work, anything from acquisition of a building to construction, inventory. It's a pretty broad window of what you can actually do with the money. You just have to be able to articulate what it is you want to do. And so we're really encouraging all of our businesses that are interested to go to the Small Business Technology Development Center, which is a part of the Small Business Association, to help develop a business plan.
Did you say you have to be in business for 2 years? Is that right?
2 years. The decision was not to do startups.
Okay.
Because it's even more risky.
I see. Okay.
It's more risky, and we do have a limited amount of money.
I see.
And so we're trying to stretch it. We did get them to do micro enterprises eventually.
Right.
At first, it was just small businesses, so there was some compromising, and we kind of stretched ourselves.
Sure.
So our goal is to make sure that we help our local businesses survive. And let me add an important piece in there. We are focusing on certain geographical areas within the city.
Right. Yes.
HUD requires that our services be targeted to neighborhoods that are hit the most with higher poverty rates, higher unemployment rates, vacancy rates, those kind of things. So we are focusing our loan programs for those same areas. And that's the Edison neighborhood, East Side, North Side, Vine, Stewart, Douglas neighborhoods. That's where if you have a business in those areas, that's where we're focusing at, just to make sure all of our programs are holistic. If we're tackling home repairs in a neighborhood, let's work with the businesses in the same neighborhood.
Sure.
You know, if we're working with children, let's just make sure that everything's focused, and it's not a lot of money, but at least it's focused money.
Yes.
I was in a meeting tonight with one of our other staff, and she was saying in the last 10 years, the city of Kalamazoo has received $1 million less than before from HUD. So the money decreases because of the economy. So our impact has to be more focused. The other program that we have, which is totally new, is the Facade Improvement Program, which is how I kind of connected with Carrie.
Yes.
The Facade Improvement Program. And the goal of the Facade Improvement Program is to just help your business look better.
Sure.
It has to be focused, your business has to be facing the right of way. And I think I coined a phrase when I was with you. I've been saying it. The more attractive your business is, the more business you will attract. That's my new tagline.
Yes.
You did that, so it's going to be famous, trademark.
There you go.
But so with that money, it goes up to $60,000. But the first $20,000 is a grant. You don't have to pay it back. You don't have to have been in business 2 years. The catch for a lot of people is going to be that if you're leasing the building, you have to have permission from the owner to change the facade, because this is a structural change. We're not trying to repair roofs or anything, but if we need to repair a door, windows, put a canopy over it, we won't be doing anything that's easily removed, like landscaping. We want to do things that have lasting value, and they have to be agreed. It has to be agreed that will stay there for 10 years. And our goal again, so we're helping the houses in the neighborhood. We're helping the businesses be productive. Now we all have to look good.
Yes.
Because I was in a neighborhood the other day and working with one of the neighborhoods, and he was talking about a particular building, and I said, when they told me all that went on in that building, I'm like, wow, that's really cool, but I would never go in there because of what it looks like.
Yes.
And it does not that I'm super great or anything, but it's just not a place I would go.
Right. Was that the Believers Business Center?
No, not at all. What? I came.
Oh,
I didn't do that one.
Okay.
I came in yours.
But
I ain't going that one. Seriously, but it was just that powerful. It's like, I am not going. I mean, so our goal is to take stigmas off buildings that are doing good work.
right.
But when you walk past it, if I have to think too long, I'm gonna keep walking.
I have people come into our center all the time. They walk in the door and it's like their face goes, wow, on the inside. They're not expecting it
And I
from
thought
the
the
outside.
same thing. I thought the
outside, they
same
say,
thing.
wow, what is going on in here? And then they're excited, but
Got to get them in the door.
you gotta get them in the door.
And actually, I thought of the same thing, but a little differently, because I drove up. I said, "Now this building needs the facade program." That's what I said, seriously, because I read enough in your website to know that you were doing good things.
Yes.
But I also know that I would not have ever come in there unless I had a specific reason and a
Right.
connection.
Right.
And so, but you're not the only building. It's happening. It happens
Right.
all around the city. I was telling you, I went in another building on another side of town, and it was the same thing. I said, you're doing too much good in here to have people turned away because of what it looks like. And it's not anything strange, because first impressions are everything.
Sure.
We talk about it when you talk about it with your kids, when you tell them where your clothes is wear, or when you tell a person how to look when they go on an interview. It's just the way it is.
Right.
It's the way it is. And so, fortunately, we have an opportunity to help businesses make a different first
Yeah,
impression.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, the
And-
East Main corridor is a good example. I mean, going up East Main, it could look so much better.
And we are working. That is one of our neighborhoods,
I'll
and
bet it is.
I am working with them as well. We've been to every neighborhood association, to any business group I can get to. I sent out 20 packets yesterday to everybody I could think of, to let them know that we are here.
Yes.
We're here, and this was a fantastic opportunity. I almost said fantabulous. That's my special word, but it's a great opportunity to share what we're doing, because it's hard to get the word out.
Yes.
It's hard to get the word out, but people need to know that the city is concerned about for-profit businesses too. Most everything we do is targeted for not-for-profit, and that is because our funders
Yes.
say that's who you work with.
Right.
But here's an opportunity that we can actually impact for-profit, because we know
Yes.
that and small businesses are the hiring hub for our community. That's where people get jobs, in the small businesses. The large organizations aren't hiring that much anymore.
And you made a real good point when I think it's very good to focus on the specific neighborhoods, because what would happen otherwise is people in the neighborhoods that are doing better would have more people who are able to take advantage of your programs, and they'd be taking all the money. And it really needs to be targeted to the people.
And that's
that need it.
it was like that, and I'm not, not to anybody's detriment. You learn and you evolve.
Sure.
And that's the way it was being run. And as we when the program came back into our department, and we started thinking more holistically about, okay, we don't have a lot of money here, because it's $700,000, which is not a lot of money when you talk about funding and a lot of giving,
Right.
and giving some of it away with a grant.
Sure.
It's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, what can we do to really make this, get biggest bang for your buck?
Sure.
That kind of thought it. And because we deal with the not-for-profits all the time, our focus is always on the most needed, those who need it the most.
Right.
That's where
Exactly.
our focus is.
Exactly.
And so we took it back to the Economic Development Department, because we didn't want them to think we're just running over, because they held it for us for so long. We took it to the Long Review Committee, and we had a conversation outside of those of us who got the big hearts, because we have the big hearts, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to balance it with the person who got the money sense. But it was an overall consensus that we target our neighborhoods to get the most, to make the impact as great as possible. When I was hired here for the city, I was working with the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, which turned into the Kalamazoo Homeownership Program,
Yes.
where the homes on Bank Street, the new the Marketplace homes, and the Northside homes, where we were able to build and to really be a blessing to people who had never bought a home before.
Sure.
And so that's the kind of mindset that I bring to it. Now we can be a blessing and support to businesses who would have not had that support before.
Right.
And so our goal is to really change the face of some of these corridors. The East
Yes,
Main,
East Main,
Portage Street.
Portage, sure.
You know, you could just think of
I know
this.
it.
You can think of those streets that we drive past. We say, man, you know, and like wish I. Why don't they? Or this is what we usually say. Why don't they do something
Yeah,
to that building? But the reality is, they may not have the money to do it.
sure.
And
Another
those-
thing that is very interesting to me is the micro businesses, the small people, businesses of 5 or less employees. These are businesses that really employ a lot of people.
They do.
You know, I mean, a neighborhood, a cleaners, you know, a laundry,
Laundry.
a drugstore, you know, a small drugstore, a small convenience store.
Even the small convenience
Yeah,
stores,
yeah.
you know, sometimes they get a bad rap, but
Yeah.
really, it's convenient.
Yes, yes.
It is. I have one that I go
Right.
to across the street from my apartment on a
Sure.
regular basis
Sure.
because that's where I get my 50-cent Pepsi.
Sure.
It's convenient. You know,
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
convenient. It's
Yeah.
convenient. It serves a purpose.
Mhm.
And sometimes another thing that happens that I've been talking to business owners is that they have the vision for the business, but they don't have a vision for marketing and how to present themselves
Yeah.
to get more funding or to expand. So part of our responsibility, and you know, and I don't take credit for this. I went to training, and they really to do this program, and it made me think totally different. Is
Uh-huh.
part of our mission is to actually train them to become better business owners.
Sure.
You know, how many of them actually have a business plan, a written business plan that you could take to a bank or to anybody that they would support or a possible partner,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and they would look at that and say, "This makes sense."
Mhm.
Maybe, maybe not. How many of them have actually used a CPA once to help them get their stuff in order, or how many of them have had the money to actually buy an inventory control system?
Right.
To control them. When I was talking to somebody, and they were talking about they didn't know how much they lost because they don't have a system,
Yes.
and pen and paper just is not effective.
Well, you know, that's a strong point about the Believers Business Center. You've got a lot of those things going. Those are the things that you work on, is how to
Help-
present a business plan.
Helping start up businesses, small businesses, and giving them a place that gives them help every day so that they can survive. We give them a place, you know, even if we're sending out faxes for rentals
Yeah.
and things like that.
And also, Carrie, you started your own business at a young age and was successful at it, and that means a lot.
Yeah.
You
18,
know
right-
how to
right
do
on.
it.
Actually,
you know how to do it.
at 16, I was contracting cleaning jobs.
Wow, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Driving a big old Lincoln, or it had a suicide doors on this big old car.
Suicide
It was a boat. I was driving it to clean buildings and clean houses.
And that's something that people need to know because we have so many people with criminal backgrounds and just so many issues that getting a job so difficult because they don't fit the traditional. This is not what we're looking for.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people like Carrie in these neighborhoods that could be doing very well,
Right.
generating money within the community.
And that's
Very
why I
well.
think what you do
Yeah.
is so valuable because there is, and that's one of the things I was attracted. I'm like, I've lived in like 4 different cities and worked with, and I've never seen almost an incubator. It's really not an incubator because you do more than an incubator.
Right.
You don't just give them a
Yes.
spot.
Right. We can do both.
You can, you know.
But we want to get them out into the
Right.
community.
So I think that, and that's why, you know, I encourage you every time we talk, go through the process. I can't help you with it. I can't because we can't play favorites. You know,
Yeah.
I'm doing equitable because if we mess up, we lose the money. So my goal is to keep all of us keep the money and keep me employed
There you
because
go.
I do like to eat as well. But so I encourage you, you know, to finish the process and to take the time out of your super busy schedule to do the application. Seriously, and that's why there are other agencies that are doing and other small businesses that are doing phenomenal work within their neighborhoods. And I tell people I don't know if we'll get funded again.
Mhm.
You know, this is a very unique pot of money that the city had. That and it's basically from the interest that we've earned from the past loans. And when the economy went bad, people weren't doing a lot of stuff.
Sure.
So that's why we tweaked it so we can use it more effectively. But you know, we're in the process, and this is something we were talking about in the process. I'll just segue here in doing our consolidated plan for the community. I take my time and use all these, so I don't use acronyms. The money we get from HUD is called the Community Development Block Grant,
Right.
and that's the money that this comes from. This program is funded through, but also the money that we give the neighborhood associations, we give them non-for-profits. Which is also some of the money it goes into the city's budgets to do streets repair, infrastructure in those same neighborhoods. And every 5 years, we have to do what's called a consolidated plan. And that tells HUD, this is what we plan to do with the next pot of money you give us. And what we're doing now is going through the process of talking to our community and residents and service providers about what do you think the community needs? What do you think we need to do with this money? And if you go on the city's website at theKalamazooCity.org and go to the Community Development and Planning Department, you will see a link to a survey that asks you, tell us what you think we need to do. And we're also getting some statistics from the census, and then we're going to filter that through with what the city needs in terms of budgeting, and so we can target how we spend our money. And as a part of that, we're hoping that economic development becomes a part of it. So hopefully we can keep having money to do this with.
Yes.
But there are a lot of other ways, that we can get money for this. So I'm working on those too. But we really want the community to let us know, what do you think is important? What do you know? This is the first time that the city. Usually we just contract that whole project out, and but this time we're handling a lot of it ourselves because we're here.
Yes.
And we could contract somebody from another city to come do it, but they would have to ask us anyway.
Sure.
So we're here, and like I said, if you would go to KalamazooCity.org and take the survey. Carrie has some surveys at the Believers
Yes,
Center.
we do.
We're going to wrap this up within the next couple weeks, and the more data we have, the more powerful the message.
Okay.
But hopefully, that will come. Economic development will be a strong point, and so we can continue this program. But my personal goal is to use some other avenues to find money, so we can help more businesses. I would love to have the money to help startups.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what generates.
I would love
employment.
to. I would love to, but I have to have a bigger capital base than what I have to
Sure,
take that
sure.
kind of risk,
Sure.
because that's such a huge risk.
Yes.
Even with there is a different type of percentage. Everybody that participates, you have to have an application fee, 'cause like I said, it's a traditional funding. You also have to have some skin in the game, like 5-10% of your project cost. You have to be able to handle it, and then we do the bulk of it. But because of the risk of the hospitality industry, like restaurants and stuff, your skin in the game has to be 20%, because the higher the risk, the more you have to participate
Sure.
in the risk.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But we don't want to make it so hard
Yes.
that you don't do it.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, we don't. You know, and you don't have to get. Let's say you want to do a facade program, and the grant portion is 20,000, but you only need 5,000. You only need a couple of pretty doors. That's all you have to do. You don't have to request the max. Our goal is not to you get a loan and then your business is even in more trouble than it was in the first
Yes.
place, because then you have to pay us back.
Sure.
And like I always say, I'm coming. That's part of my job too. I am coming to get the check.
Yeah.
You know? So we're not trying to make it strenuous for
Yes.
you. We want to make it to where you look and say, look at where we're going. And I'll give you one example. One of the agencies that we funded, they make parts. They repair laparoscope medical equipment.
Oh, okay.
Only one of two in the state. But I went to see what they used our funding. They got some money to buy a bigger building because they were growing so fast. They used our funding for inventory, and I was just so impressed at how much they had grown because of that support, and how many people they had hired, and trained in this unique skill, and that now they're getting patents on their equipment. They've gone from just repairing to creating and manufacturing. And it happens right here in this little city.
Sure.
Very quiet. I mean, they've just developed something that was FDA approved. That's huge.
That's
Sure.
huge.
But those are the kind of outcomes that we get when we work
That's
together
right,
and
yeah.
provide support.
You never know.
You
That's
never
how
know.
Stryker started. It's a small little idea.
Small
That's
idea.
good, yeah.
And all you need is somebody to support. So that's
Sure.
where we are with the city. It's not a lot of money,
Mhm.
but it'll give you a push.
We have a few minutes left. Is there anything you wanted to finish off?
Well, like I said, I really want to encourage everybody in the Kalamazoo City area to participate in that survey
All right.
and tell us what you think the city needs. What are the, where do you think the holes and services are? And I want to emphasize this is a part of the process. We've gone out and people say, I want you to do some more homeless shelters, and I'm saying, well, if there are already 4 or 5 homeless shelters and then there's nothing here, we probably need to do that where there's nothing at. So it's a balancing act. But if we don't hear from you, then we have to just use statistics, which are one-dimensional, and then our experiences, which is limited. But if we can hear from you, and on the surveys is a place for your email, and we will keep you abreast of the process when we have the public hearings and when we start asking people. When we get to the place where the rubber starts to meet the road, and we get started writing this plan, and before it goes to DC for approval, we really want to we know the money's going to be cut because that's happening everywhere.
Sure.
We got hit by the sequestration. How you say that? We lost some money then. I mean, we all did. And so we know it's not going to get any better because our country is in such financial peril. But we want to have a plan that with whatever little money we have, that when it leaves the city's coffers, it impacts the city
Yes,
and impacts
yes,
lives in a strong, directly targeted method. Instead of, we don't want to shoot blanks.
Sure.
Good?
Yeah. Well, Dorla, it was a pleasure to have you on.
It was my pleasure. I am honored. And you just helped me check my marketing box really, really big.
All right.
So we'll check the city website and take that survey, right?
Right.
Good. And then what department of that website
Community
is it?
development and planning. And actually, when you go to the city's website, you know how it has a little thing scrolling. There's usually a link right there. It says Survey Monkey. It's called
Oh,
Survey
all right.
Monkey.
Good.
So if you don't catch it
Survey
there,
Monkey. All
if
right.
you don't catch it there, then just go to where it says departments and then go to community planning and development.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They can also stop in the Believers Business Center
And-
down at Edison, and we'll
Yes.
just connect them right up.
Right. And if she needs more, trust me, I can get you some more.
Okay. All right. We're
Okay.
all here to help the community, and
Exactly.
that's our goal. So,
Yeah. Well, it's really exciting because, small businesses really generate new jobs, and that's in
The
every
backbone
community
of
that
this
needs
country.
it.
It
We
is.
can generate new jobs, and that just pulls the community up further.
Like
and
you
further
said,
and
every
further.
Stryker, every General Motors, every
That's right.
Ford started off
They started
as a
off
small
That's right.
business.
That's right.
Right. So we're here to help.
So, well, thank you very much for all
It
your
was
help
my
to the
pleasure.
center.
Yeah, thanks,
My
Dorla.
pleasure. My pleasure,
Okay.
honestly. My
Well, we'll
pleasure.
see you next week.
See you next week.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. That was fun.
Great.
But when I get excited about something, I can talk.